the table. I think the reason that they're taking their time with this is because what they have undertaken to do is so big and so monumental and is so risky that if they don't get this done all buttoned up, down tight, every dot and every T dotted and crossed, if they don't do that, these guys are dead. Who are they taking on? They are taking on a largely invisible establishment, deep state, what have you. It has never been done before. They see what has happened to Trump with his efforts. These guys are serious. Barr and Durham are trying to dismantle a way of life for people. They are trying to dismantle decades of establishment, consistency, patterns, lifestyles that are set in gold, futures that are guaranteed for themselves and their kids. You can't do this with PR. You can't do it one indictment at a time. If you're going to do this, like they're doing it, when it's time to present it, it better be absolutely indisputable. Because if there's anything in it that's not battened down, if there's anything in it that isn't true, these guys are dead. It's one thing to say we're going to drain the swamp. It's one thing to say we're going to get rid of the deep state. It's one thing to say that we are going to take our country back. It's another thing to actually do it. The people who are the targets of this are not just the Comeys and the McCabe's. Those people are the foot soldiers of the movement. They are not the brains. They are not the money. They are not the organizers. They're not the power brokers. They are not the people that assign the jobs in the deep state. These are not the people that determine who gets membership in the deep state and who doesn't. But if you go after those guys, you're going to find their bosses, and you're going to have to take them out as well. And this is a deeply serious, big-time undertaking that's unprecedented. For all this talk about Trump wanting to be a monarch and a king, this actually is the equivalent of taking down the invisible apparatus that actually has been running this country for take your pick of how many decades, but at least since the post-World War II effort. And it has people in it everywhere. It has people in all the major universities. It has people internationally entrenched in the European Union, George Soros, all of these Western European diplomats and so forth, the State Department. They're going to be taking on a tremendous number of people here. It's not just Schiff and Nadler and Pelosi trying to impeach Trump and get rid of him. It's people whose names we don't even know. It's people who live in places we don't know. And if you're going to take those people on, you have to, when it's time to actually make your move, you better have everything you need, because these people are going to be launching back at you with efforts to destroy you and everything you're trying to do to them, because this is actually attacking and trying to bust up a way of life that has been entrenched. I mean, this is the ruling class. Let's look at it in terms of Angelo Codevilla. This is the ruling class. And Mr. Codevilla thinks they've already won, that we can never, ever go back to the founding principles of this country as a majority belief by the Americans. He believes common citizenship is no longer possible. That's how deeply they have infected the fabric of our culture. He believes that their objective is to eliminate us. What do you think this all is? Overturning the results of an election. What is that really? It's negating and nullifying us. Yeah, we're deplorables or whatever, but what we are is non-citizens. What we are is non-factors to them. This effort to get rid of Donald Trump is an effort in truth to rid themselves of us as a competing political force. And we got two guys that have decided to take this on. Bill Barr, well, three: Trump, Bill Barr, and John Durham. And I don't think they want to telegraph how far along they are to these people. I don't think they want to give them any heads up at all what they have found. And it could well be that at the end of all this, we're not going to get anything. I don't have any idea, but I don't think that's true based on Durham's statement yesterday, reaction to the IG report. Durham wouldn't have said what he said yesterday if they already didn't have evidence and witnesses to contradict what Horowitz said. So I think it is such a profoundly major thing that's being attempted here. Look at it as trying to defeat the Soviet Union without firing a shot. It's a much bigger undertaking than people. It's not just draining the swamp. It's not just getting rid of the people you know and having the people you know in this thing be punished. That would be great. And I share the emotion that you expressed with that. But these are just the foot soldiers. These are just the little order takers. These are just the people appointed to these positions to do the advanced dirty work for the people we don't know, to protect the people we don't know. And I'm not even talking about Obama. I'm talking about people way above and beyond Obama or any president.
The greatest danger to our free system is that the incumbent government use the apparatus of the state both to spy on political opponents, but also to use them in a way that could affect the outcome of the election. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time in history that this has been done to a presidential campaign, the use of these counterintelligence techniques against a presidential campaign. In today's world, presidential campaigns are frequently in contact with foreign persons, and indeed, in most campaigns, there are signs of illegal foreign money coming in. And we don't automatically assume that the campaigns are nefarious and traitors and acting in league with foreign powers. There has to be some basis before we use these very potent powers in our core First Amendment activity. And here, I felt this was very flimsy.
Who could he have been talking about when he says the use of foreign money, presidential campaigns, is very frequent? Who in the world contributed more foreign money, or who received more foreign money than Hillary and Bill Clinton over the course of his 2 terms and her wished-for term as a candidate? In fact, they lived on it. They survived on it. They thrived on foreign money. She was selling access to her presidency on the come through the Clinton Foundation. This is another thing I know many of you would like to be exposed, but Barr is making the case for everybody here that all of this has never happened before. It's unprecedented. And what will we see when Durham is finished?
I know there's a lot of impatience. People want results immediately, but those are people who don't understand our process. We have to be careful about the way we collect evidence, and we have to make sure that we have enough evidence to justify our actions, and that we're not going to cut corners in that respect. You know, there's some people who think this thing is going to drop in a few weeks. That's not the case. I see this perhaps reaching an important watershed, perhaps in the late spring, early summer.
You hear what he said here. We have to be careful about the way we collect evidence. We have to make sure we have enough evidence to justify what we've done. We're not going to cut corners. He knows exactly what they have chewed off here. He knows exactly this humongous, overwhelming thing they have decided to do. They are taking on the most powerful people in the world, not just in the United States. They're taking on all the people who are trying to overturn the British vote on Brexit. They're taking on all of the people who want open borders in the United States and want uncontrolled illegal immigration. They're taking on all the people who would be very happy if the United States got cut down to size and just became one of many members in the massive global arrangement. They're taking on powerful people who literally have a desire to end the whole concept of nations and borders because they seek global dominance and leadership for themselves. And to do that, you have to diminish the world's biggest superpower. That is us. And once you start down this road, you know the old adage, if you're going to take a shot at the king, you better kill him. That's what's guiding these people. So they're not going to be governed by emotion or satisfying emotional demands that are based on revenge and reciprocity and getting even, because this is much, much bigger than that.
The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another 4-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation. And this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power structure. We've seen this firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents, in which Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of U.S. sovereignty in order to enrich these global financial powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. Honestly, she should be locked up. The most powerful weapon deployed by the Clintons is the corporate media, the press. Let's be clear on one thing. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe. They will lie, and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever's necessary. The Clintons are criminals, remember that. This is well documented, and the establishment that protects them has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. They knew they would throw every lie they could at me and my family and my loved ones. They knew they would stop at nothing to try to stop me. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefits of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love.